Hello, welcome back or welcome to my channel, Snap and Scrap with Vicki. I am coming to you with one of the last classes of our Handmade Holiday Hop. 10 Stampin' Up demonstrators have collaborated over the month of October to bring you inspiration for cards, gift ideas for the holidays. So I will be ending up with today a Triple Display Easel Card, and I'm going to be using the Modern Christmas DSP. So I have just laid out this gorgeous paper here, front and back, that you can see. The back sides are more tranquil and it's more of a black and white vibe. And then the front sides have the beautiful gold in them. So this is front and back of this page. And then the front and back with the stars and the Christmas trees. You can see that gold just shines. And I have used a couple of pieces from here, this is a really cool piece of DSP or designer series paper, because you can just take a punch and punch out just the design of the Christmas trees, the bundles, and use them like that, or you can cut it up and use strips. And the back side of that is these lovely black and white dots. Then we have the very, very shiny gold ornaments, and the back side again is a more subtle black and white. And fa la la, again, the more subtle black and white, and the back very busy, but fun in small pieces. And then last but not least, the black and white, and then the beautiful gold stripes with the black and white. All right, so let me put this paper aside. And let's show the card that we're going to be making today. So again, I'm calling this a Triple Display Easel Card. So this is Display 1. This is Display 2. And then it stands up as Display 3. And I will try to hold it up for you. Display 3. All right, so fun, easy, a few tricks in there. So I will show you the rest of the product that I am using for this card today. So for the embossing part, I am using the Glass and Gardens embossing folders. I'm particularly using this one. I just thought this had like a fun, cool vibe to it that you could, that would fit perfectly on that front flap and then do a fade out in the center of the card. I'm also using the Stylish Shapes dies, particularly this circle, which is right here, that gives it that nice little dotted effect. And it is the third one from the largest that I'm using. The embellishments are Bling. We are going to be using the flower accents, which I am in love with these little gold flowers. They are perfect for anything. Love gold. And then for our sentiment, again, we're going to be using the Greetings for You Ephemera pack. And like I said before in my last class, it has a ton of these in here. So perfect if you're trying to duplicate your cards and get ready for Christmas. So this is a wonderful, wonderful pack. Okay, so let's get started with the card. I have already pre-cut all of the DSP and the cardstock. So we're going to be starting with our card base, which I'm using the basic thick white, and it is 4 1/4 by 11. So the first thing we're going to do is score this to get ready to assembling the card. So the first score line that you're going to be making is at 1 inch. And when I'm doing smaller numbers, I like to score and use my marker from the outside, because to hold it this direction and to hold it in place when you close when you close your score clip here, it makes it more difficult. So we're going to hold it at 1 inch. Make sure you're using your light gray blade, and we're going to score. Now I'm going to turn it, because we are going to go to 6 1/2 inches. Let's get this card out of the way, sorry. And so we have our 1, but we're still going to go to 6 1/2 inches. Just below that, and we're going to score again. Alrighty. So now we're going to fold inward on both of them. And as you can see, that's going to be our card base, and then we're going to burnish the edges. All right. Now we can put the trimmer away because we won't be using that again. Everything else, like I said, I have already pre-cut. So here we have our card base, and as you can see, it's going to open like that. So on the front of the card, I chose this DSP pattern. I just loved it, and I just thought it gave just the right amount of gold, but still kept that kind of black and white feeling. Okay, so we're going to start putting the DSP together, and like I said, the measurements are going to be in my description on the YouTube channel if you just click for more. So the black cardstock at the bottom is 4 1/8 by 4 3/8, and the DSP is 4 by 4 1/4. And then the top part, and if you're using a continuous pattern, just be aware that you might want to try to match this up, so when you cut that off, it'll line up perfectly on your card. So this little black piece is 4 1/8 by 7/8, so 4 1/8 lengthwise and 7/8 tall, and then the little DSP is 4 by 3/4. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to put these two together. And again, be mindful of your patterns lining up. So we're just going to center this. Looks pretty good. Put that aside to dry. Sorry, I'm gonna get my fingers working there, and then center this. And the good thing about using a liquid glue is that it does give you, you know, a little bit of time, not a lot of time, because this glue dries pretty fast. But as you can see, I'm still being able to move it just a tiny bit to center it. Okay, so now we can attach this to our card front. So again, liking the liquid glue just so I have a little more time to center it. And if you want, probably the easiest thing is to open it so that you're not fighting against the flap coming back and forth at you. And then you're going to, again, put this centered as best as you can. Now this one I like to put on with it so I can kind of judge where the black cardstock is ending up, so we can line it up evenly and have our spaces even. Well, that just got glue all over my table. All right, so we are going to be putting that. Just give it a little press down, give it a minute to dry. All right, I'm going to stop this to clean up that glue that I got on my countertop here, and I'll be right back. Okay, so the next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing some embossing with our black cardstock before we move forward. So like I said, I am going to be using the Glass and Garden embossing folder. It is a 2-kit embossing folder. This is the floral one that comes with it, which is, sorry for the glare, but this is the floral one, which I am not going to be using today, but I went with this more modern design. Okay, so for the front flap, I do not want it to be fading. As you can see, the whole embossed area, the whole cardstock is embossed with this. So we're going to be placing it on the embossing folder where the more solid pattern is. And we're going to just make sure it's lined up as fairly straight as we can get it, because it is, you know, got lines in the pattern. We want to make sure that it's going correctly. So we're going to sandwich this in. I am using the Stampin' Up. Right, sorry, I had to switch out the plates again. This is not a 3D. This is a standard embossing folder. So here we go. Alrighty. And here we have it. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So that's going to be going on this piece. And then the next thing we're going to do is the inside one, where as you can see, I only used what I could, but it gives it a nice fade out, which I think is really, I don't know if you can even see that. There you go. I think you can. Gives a nice fade out to the cardstock on the inside, which I think is pretty cool. All right, so this one is, again, we're going to line it up as far as we can to catch that edge. Okay. And we're going to run it through. Oh, I think it's shifted, so no, maybe not. All right, there we go. And put that in. Beautiful. And then it's got the nice solid pattern here and then the fade out. All right, okay, so we can put our machine away. We are done with that. All right, so then what we're going to do next is we are going to go ahead and attach the black cardstock to the white flap. And again, I like to use a liquid glue for this because it actually gets down in the little embossed areas, which makes it stick a little bit better. But again, you know, some people like to use your tape runner. Anything works, really. Just whatever you're most comfortable with. I'll pick this up off the white so I can kind of see it. Okay. All right. So there we have that. Next thing I'm going to do is we're going to go ahead and put our cardstock in the center. Make sure I'm in camera here for you. And try to center this as best you can. All right. Beautiful. So it's starting to come together here. So now this is when we're going to be attaching the flap to the outside of the card. So this cardstock is 5 1/4 inches long. So we have to make sure that we want to line it up to the bottom of the card and leave like about the same space on the top and side. I also sometimes put it over just a tiny bit because I don't want it too small on the outside here. When I go to stand the easel card, I feel like it has more of a security to be able to go here. Now, some people will take this and do pop dots on the back. I kind of prefer to do the liquid glue because it has more of a solid adhesion. So I'm just going to put my finger here to know that I can't go past that area. And we're just going to put a little glue right there. Then again, we can place it and make sure that it's down to the base of the card on the bottom. Nice and straight. With this pattern, it's actually kind of easy, so we can do more of an eyeball. And we're just going to hold it there for a few seconds. Okay. All right. And nice and straight. Okay. So what I'm going to do next is we're going to decorate the outside of this flap, and we have the lovely gold foil. This is just from my stash, so you can use any gold foil you want. And what I had done with this was I had used a hole punch, like a 2 1/4 inch hole punch, to get it out of the paper, and then took the 2-inch stylus shapes and cut that out to give it the nice border here, so that it would have the dotted border. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, I've already had put some dimensionals on the back. We're going to go ahead and attach this to the gold. And we just want to try to center that, again, as best we can. All right. Now, when we're attaching it to the flap, obviously, we can only put glue on this side because otherwise we would glue the card down. So we are only going to put glue here. So I'm just going to kind of put a finger here, again, to just eyeball it. I know I put a hefty amount on there, but I don't want it moving anywhere. And then it can be anywhere on here that you want. If you want it higher, if you want it lower. I wouldn't do it too low because then when you do the trifold and you stand it up, it's going to be difficult and might get in the way. All right. Oh, got a little glue on my gold foil. Yeah, we'll correct that later. Okay, so now let's go back on the inside. So simply we have the Merry Christmas that I put on the inside, and it is self-adhesive, which is really nice about these. So you just have to look for the little line. I don't know if you can see that, to be able to, there we go, and peel that off. Okay. And what I would suggest is make sure it's lower than this, because you don't really want to see it when you flap it up. So you don't really want it up here. So that's why I moved it down just a little bit. And again, trying to center it. Okay. All right, so before we do the stopper, let's turn our card on the outside. So this is where you would write your greeting or stamp if you wanted to stamp something. Well, that glue is, there we go. Don't like that. So I've already pre-cut these pieces. They're exactly the same. That's going to be the stopper on the inside and the outside. So the black cardstock is 4 1/4 by 1. And the designer series paper is 4 by 7/8. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and we're going to glue these together. I'm not having fun with my glue today. I don't know what's going on, but we're just going to leave that there for a second, then I'll wipe it off. Getting a little too close to the edge is what it is, and then so it's seeping out. Okay. All right. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and attach this to the back. And again, you can do like I did. You can put it on the bottom, you can put it on the top, and then stamp under it or right under it. But this way, I wanted it to be at the base of the card and then have all this space to be able to write or stamp. I have not decided who I'm giving it to, so that will depend on what I say. Okay. So just give it a little space so when the card folds up. There we go. Okay. Beautiful. So we're almost there. So now we are going to make the stopper, which is our stopper. So let me just see. Yep, that glue came off pretty good. I'm just going to hit my little adhesive thing on here, just a adhesive remover, just to make sure. So now for this, I'm just going to use pop dots on this card. So I have some nice big square pop dots. Again, I just want it to be nice and sturdy for it not to go anywhere. So I'm going to put about 4 of these on the back. So I always start on the outsides and then kind of even out in the centers. So before we attach this, I just want to kind of where it's going to naturally hit for a very nice thing. So it's going to be about 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch in. So again, just eyeballing it, doesn't have to be perfect, but you want it to be as straight as possible. Boy, this glue is everywhere today. Okay, and there we have it. So now we have our trifold. Okay, so the last thing we have to do is we're going to embellish it with our little flower accents. And where did I put those? Oh, here they are. Okay. All right. So these only come with 2 sizes, basically medium large and a small. So I went with 1 large one and put it on the black just to kind of show that off a little bit. And then 2 little guys around the trees. Now for this one, since I don't have a star, do I want to put it there? Maybe I'm going to put one here. on this time. And then put this one over here, because I'm trying to do our triangle of 3. Okay. All right, so here we have the finished card. So view 1, view 2, and then your view 3. So triple display easel card. Hope you love it as much as I do. It came together fairly simple. It's just, you know, a matter of just a little bit of math, but other than that, it just layers very nicely. And like I said, on the flap here, you can use pop dots, which I will show you in some samples that I have. But I like the solid glue because I feel like it just lays a little bit nicer. So that is our card that we made today. So now let me stop this for just a second and get everything together, and I'll be right back. All right, so I have some more cards, more samples, I should say, to show you that I have done with this. So I also made this out of the Modern Christmas. As you can see, this is much blingier. Did the metallic gold foil paper for both the star and the flap, and then the big wham inside. And then, whoops, come back. Oh my goodness, okay. And then the stand. And then in the back, I just did simple. And again, I did not put an extra piece of cardstock on the back of here because I do have the gold metallic markers that I could write a saying here, or if I decide to stamp and do gold embossing on the back, that is available too. And the only other thing I would say here was the star. I ended up putting a black piece of cardstock behind it because I didn't want to be able to see through to the DSP, and I just thought it gave it a cleaner look. So what I did use to achieve this is the flower, the Forever Plaid 3D embossing folder. Is what I embossed this card, the gold foil card stock with. So the star came from the ornamental Christmas dies. That's where this little star came from. The circle here that was die cut, it came from the Spotlight on Nature. This is one of my favorite dies. I use it all over and over again. So I did this little one right here, which gave us that black. And then again, we used the flower accents and the Greetings for You ephemera pack. Okay, so might be too blingy for some people, but I love it. I think it would even be great for like a Happy New Year's card. Doesn't necessarily have to be Christmas. It could be for a birthday, a 50th birthday, joy. You know, you have lots of occasions where you have joy. So I really, really loved how that came out. Okay, so the next card I have for you, I did out of the Peaceful Gardens. So I will show. So this one is really, really pretty. This is a lot of white on white, but I love the Peaceful Gardens. This came out last year and it's still in the catalog. It's just so tranquil. And I love the blues. I love blues. Okay, so here we go. So we have the front card embossing. As you can see, I've lined this up to match this embossing. Just a little trick. And then obviously this side has to go vertical. And then we have our, okay. And on the back of here, I went ahead and did a double layer on the back because I wanted to add some color in the back, and then just did a little strip and then said, wishing you peace, love, and joy. So, and then you can, you know, sign your name or write a little something. So for this card, we ended up using the hues of blue flowers, which are really, really pretty. Perfect to, they came with this suite, but they're also perfect to use on a lot of other things. The Peaceful Greenery 3D embossing folder, which gives us that perfect thing. And on the back here, it has the die that matches, so you can actually die cut this out. Sorry, this glare is really bad, sorry. You can use this die to cut this out and actually do inlays for this too. So I did obviously this one in the white and the smaller one in the, what color did I use here? Misty Moonlight, sorry. Still learning all these colors. So this was the Misty Moonlight and then the white. And like I said, the paper is absolutely gorgeous. It has so many different colors and hues of the blues with the flowers and the doves. So it's also perfect to make sympathy cards out of, because the stamp set with deepest sympathies, heartfelt prayers, big hugs for a good friend. So really, really, really nice. All right, so that is sample number 2. Actually, sample number 3. Okay, and then sample number 4. This is my card here, and I used a different embossing folder. For now, this one, it's called, I used the Joyful Days Memories and More cards. So basically, this is a Memories and More card here. I don't even think I have any left in this one, but you can see they are 3x4 and 4x6 cards. If I can get them out, sorry. And then these are just some of the little pieces that I cut off. But so you do have to use a 4x6 card, so you have your fronts and backs to get the front flap in on the inside. So this I cut out of a 4x6, but then I utilized what was left with this for the back of the card and for the inside. And then this is a separate 4x6. We called them pocket cards, and close to my heart, but they call them Memories and More. So now, the only thing I went rogue on was the embossing folder. I used a Spellbounders embossing folder called Evergreen. I just think this is beautiful, and it just gives that really beautiful Christmas vibe. So, unfortunately, we don't have anything exactly like this with Stampin' Up. So, use that, and then the Ephemera, again from the Christmas Tags and More Ephemera. And that's coming up, another card that I did, and then the traditional sparkling sequence. So, again, the cardinal, all that is the ephemera. This is actually came from one of the cards that I cut out, just the Christmas cheer, and then saving the little pieces for another card. So, there we have. Oh, let me bring this one back in. So, that's number 3 sample. And number 4. So this is my, I love this card, and I love the white on white on here, the white on white, just like the piece on earth. I just think it gives a very subtle but beautiful look. So for this one, we did the Christmas Tags and More paper. So this is what I used in my last class, but I used the ornaments to do that display window. So I just used the cards, the DSP, it's a 6x6 DSP, and I cut the side off and used that. And let me show you, this one is all together. So it comes like this. So I trimmed that off to use for the flap, and then just turned this and used it for the wreath. And then the ephemera had this beautiful ornament that I just went ahead and attached. And some of the other little DSPs that I had some smaller pieces, I just added here. And of course, this little guy is also from the ephemera pack, also the bow. The little red sequins are stuff that I had in my stash, but I just thought it gave it a nice little bling, and then the little flower accent. Now on the back of this one, I went ahead and stamped Merry Christmas with a small piece. And yes, I double layered it here. Honestly, because the first time I stamped it didn't come out right, so couldn't leave it like that. So I went ahead and stamped on a separate piece of cardstock and attached it so that it would be perfect. Okay, or as close to perfect as possible. So again, this one has a really nice inner view. It does make it a little bit bulkier when you shut it, but look how beautiful that is. Okay, so like I said, most of these I have used pop dots to pop up, but on my very first card, I wanted to show you too. What I did here was I just used cardstock. So I just took 3 additional layers of cardstock so that it makes it a little bit smoother and it's flat and more even here. So if you have extra cardstock that you want to try to use or smaller pieces, you certainly can do that. That, like I said, that it was the original plus 3 to give it that depth, and it's still perfect. It doesn't, it catches the card perfectly, not a problem. So your choice. And I think I used I used pop dots on this one. As you can see, I used pop dots to pop that on, only because these were so, this is a 3D embossing folder, so they stuck out a lot, and I wanted to make sure I had a good, that it was adhered very well and wouldn't worry about it falling off. So there we go, guys. I hope you love this card. I really enjoyed doing it. And just all the different options, and it gives you a different look, which is really amazing. And obviously you can use this for anything, birthday cards. The other thing you could use this for would be Hanukkah, because it's not really stylized just for Christmas. So that would be a great Hanukkah card to send to somebody too. So thank you for joining me. This is the last day of the holiday, the Handmade Holiday Hop. Make sure to go back and check the playlist. If you haven't caught up on some of the other ladies, make sure you go back and catch them. But this will be the last day. Me and Dee are the last two presenters on this holiday hop. So again, thank you for joining me. I hope you have enjoyed this journey. Please come back and check out my YouTube. Hopefully I'm going to be able to start adding more inspiration in the future for you all to check out. All right, so don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave me a comment. And if you decide to do one of these cards, please show me. I would love to see what you do. I also just wanted to say stay till the end of the video, because I will have some still shots of all the cards so that you can get a better look at them. All right, great. Have a great weekend, everybody. Bye-bye.